What's up,
There.
Boomer?
Oh, hey there, Boomer. How you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
Oh, excellent. Seems like I've not seen you in an exceptionally long time due to
Has
our
been a
very
long
busy
time.
lives.
Summer, that summer life where I'm just never home.
Yeah, I saw a thing. It was a mom saying, "Oh, the person that I was when I signed my kids up for all of these activities is a different person than the one delivering these kids to all these activities,"
Yes,
and that hit
I
close to home.
I can relate to that, and then just plans in general. Doesn't even have to be kid plans. It could be like
Yeah,
you when you asked if I wanted to come to that barbecue, I was feeling frisky.
yeah. You
Now I
caught me
don't
in a
want to
weak
go.
moment.
hmm But I've been focusing on it's okay to say no. It's also okay to back out. If it's not something that I think, like, they're, like, counting on you for, right? Like,
Like, how important are you really?
I'm not yeah, exactly. I'm not that
Yeah,
important.
yeah. We had a birthday yesterday, and Katie's like, I don't want to be late. I was like, dude, that party's going on whether or not we're there or not. And she's like, let's not get the kid a gift. I was like, dude, this is not the kid's fault. I would rather be 20 minutes late with a gift than 20 minutes early empty handed. Am
Yeah,
I
that's
right?
also because you are just chronically late, and that's just a part of you. I would have been there an hour early because I would have bought the gift a year ago.
It's a bunch of bullshit because it's the kids that make me late. I'm like, yo, put your shoes on, put your shoes on, put your shoes on, put your
Mm,
fucking shoes on. And
yeah.
their shoes are still not on. But anyway, I digress. What do you think about bringing a little bit of value today here, Sam,
Oh,
to
man, I'm
our
all
to
about
our
it.
users? Can we call them users?
We can.
Yeah,
Eventually, they won't be able to live without us, so they
it's
will be
true.
using us.
Yeah, can't
Mm,
live without us.
yes,
What do
because
we
all
know
of
more
our
than anything? Oh, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say all of our content prior to this is all made up.
No, shooting from the hip.
But what we're about
Fake
to
it
bring you today,
till you make it.
we know, like the back of our hands.
Big value.
It's our everyday live, eat, breathe, sleep, dream.
Wake up at 3 a.m. and check your
Oh
emails.
my God. It literally, or like wake up at 3 a.m. like, did I get back to that person?
Yeah,
Okay, I did.
absolutely
Yes.
terrifying.
My God.
How many offers came in the middle of the night?
Yeah. All of them. Yes.
And we are obviously talking about Sam
Recruiting and the job
recruiting
market
and
and
unemployment,
candidates being unemployed and companies needing to hire, companies freezing hiring, companies laying off,
changing the
specifically,
scope of the role.
yes, specifically in the tech startup world. That
Yeah,
is our bread and butter. A lot of it
but
can be transferable, sure,
yeah, I
but
get it.
like most of my advice would be tailored for tech startups.
Somebody,
Specifically, yes, all different stages and sizes, but that's us.
yeah, heck yeah. But hey, that's not to say, like Sam mentioned, if you are trying to get a job at your local Arby's, some of these things can transfer over for you. We will
True.
help you in some way. There's a little bit of value for everybody, and it might not be you. It might be your friend. Everybody seems to know somebody that seems to be laid off because I just looked and the unemployment numbers in the United States are over 6 million people. It's crazy.
Wild.
It's
Also,
nuts.
keep in mind, we are not like job coaches. We can't
No.
help you find a job. Like companies hire us to find people. So it's not like if you hit us up like, "Hey, look at my resume." Like that's not our realm. We
Mm.
will reach out to you if we think your
Not
background
unless
is a
you're a
fit.
sexy ass candidate with like an exceptional education
See,
coming out
that's
of a
hard.
really, really good company.
I've had a lot of people think that they're sexy, and I don't think they're that sexy. So it's
Hey, I've been there.
yeah, you have.
I'm like, how do I look in this? Catherine's like,
Take it
nah.
off.
I'm like, yes, please.
But yeah,
Yeah. See
that's
what we
sad
can do.
though. That's a lot
Yeah.
of unemployed people.
It's crazy. And how
Yeah.
are you like first thing you gotta think of is like how do you differentiate yourself or make yourself stand out from the other 5.999 million people that
Right.
are unemployed?
Totally. And it's that scary thing that we see time after time after time where someone applies and they go in this black hole of resumes and they could be a perfect candidate for that role,
Hmm.
but they got missed. Their
Yeah.
resume maybe didn't have like the right buzzwords or it just got lost in the shuffle, the resume shuffle. And that's the unfortunate reality of how that works in our industry.
Yeah, well, it's crazy. Like we've heard from a bunch of people that just like, oh, I didn't even see the resume. I didn't
Yeah.
look at the resume. I didn't see your email. I didn't see any of it. 'Cause think about it. If you've got all those other people that are also vying for this position that are more than likely underqualified or not a good fit for the position, dude, you're just going to fall underneath a pile. Like hiring managers are just like super swamped at this point.
Yeah, and in our industry, to give you some context, like we work with tech startups, and a lot of the times they don't even have an HR department or a recruiting team. Like when I send the resume to that company, I am sending it directly to the hiring manager who I have a relationship with. They will look at my resumes because they've hired me, they trust me, and
And
so
me.
it and you and Jeff, yeah, and the other people on our team,
Yeah.
but it's so and still, like, these hiring managers have their job to do. They are not just all day looking at resumes and looking at our notes. They are also doing their job.
Trying to run a
So it's
business.
yeah, us as recruiters have to bring value to like, why are they gonna take time out of their day to look at this resume that Sam sent me? Well, it's because they know that I'm not gonna waste my time. I'm pre-vetting these candidates and sending them over, and I'm doing my due diligence. But candidates who are applying directly don't have that luxury of having someone vouch for them and say, "Yeah, I talked to this person. They're awesome." Like,
Yeah.
and that's what a recruiter does. So,
Yeah. Like you don't have the phone number. I mean, you might, but
I
are
mean,
you going to call like us as a recruiter? Like I could reach out to one of my hiring managers, just like shoot him a text message or just call and be like, yo, I just submitted this person. I got off the phone with them and my God, you want to talk to them. But you might not have that.
yeah. And that's a hard thing too is I've also talked to candidates who have been burned by recruiters. And I understand recruiters not all recruiters are the same or not all recruiting firms are the same and they may I guess act differently or the way they recruit is different though maybe they don't have a good relationship with the hiring manager and that's hard because it's you've been burned once, you might not want to trust the next one and
Yeah.
but also same with me. Like I've had really great candidates and then I've been duped by some good candidates who then just ghost you or ghost the hiring manager and I'm like, "My god, I've been bamboozled." So, it goes both ways.
Yeah.
Or they're lying about their skill set, which and I'm sure recruiters do the same thing too, where maybe the recruiters lie about the relationship they have with the company. So it's this who do you trust type thing. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's why we're here, folks.
But then on the other side, like not everybody's going to get the opportunity to work with a recruiter, right?
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
even know that that's an option, right? Like,
Yeah.
let's say, like, what does Joe Schmo do if Joe Schmo wants to apply to XYZ startup, but they would rather go through a recruiter? Like, I don't even know how they would find out what recruiter
Yeah.
is working with them, right? So then I
Yeah.
guess my question, Jeff, to you and for
Oh,
our users is let's say that's the spot. Let's say I want to apply to XYZ startup. My background's a perfect fit. I don't know any of the recruiters that are working on this role, but I know I want this job. I submit my resume. Now what?
dude, the first thing I would do is look and see if I have any like mutual connections because it's not really what you know, literally who you know. And if you can have a backdoor entryway into like any sort of position or get your like a little bit of a foot above, what do you call it? Just get above it a little
Yeah.
bit. I would go that route first. Just see like, hey, do I know anybody here? And then if not, I would start connecting with people that work at that company and get as many connections on LinkedIn as humanly possible. Would be my first step. What about you, Sam? Does it change for you? Stalker.
I mean, a little bit. Like, sure, I'm gonna look to see if I have connections, but I'm connected to a lot of people who I don't personally know who can't
Hmm.
vouch for me as a
Yeah.
recruiter, right? They're connected because I was connected to someone else. And so even if you're connected to someone, like, can that person vouch for you? Like, I think a lot of the times you find this role and again, specifically with tech startups, you apply on LinkedIn, you apply to their job posting. If it were me, I would, outside of connecting with everyone humanly possible at that company, I would hit up whoever you think the hiring manager would be, right? You're applying for a product role, it's going to be the person who leads up product or the most
Yeah.
senior in that department. If they don't have that, then maybe the CEO, the COO, whatever. So reach out to someone or multiple people and say, "Hey, I'm excited. I saw the job posting. I applied directly. I think I'd be a good fit because of XYZ," right? And highlight those specific things in a little message to them. Because one, they're if they're just going to delete it, fine. That's how they're looking at your resume anyway. But it's better than just throwing it into that black web of hole, where you have no idea what's happening. Did they see it? Did I get an automatic, like, thank you, we'll let you know
Yeah.
when, whatever? Like, how frustrating as
Yeah.
somebody on the other end who gets that email and then is just like, cool, I have no idea if they're going to see my resume. I'm
Yeah.
perfect for this role though.
Yeah. Um, and then also, like, going with the frustrations, like, how many jobs have you applied to where you're doing the exact same thing over and over and over again, where you're just applying and hoping something happens? It's like, take your power and, like, figure out another way to do it. Because the old thing about it being crazy is, like, are you doing the same thing over and over and over again and hoping for a different result? You have to, like, set yourself apart and, like, really get in there and not be afraid to, like, get some sort of an answer, even if it's no. Because wouldn't you rather just shut the door on something rather than have it just be floating around in the ether forever, not even knowing if they saw it? Be like, hey, I just hitting you up again. I applied to this position. I really feel like I'm an excellent fit. I would really like to know, have you even had a chance to look at my resume? They're like, what's going on? You know what I mean?
Yeah. To that point too, like doing the same thing for all of these jobs, like I can't tell you how many candidates I spoke to and I'll say like, "Hey, yeah, thanks for taking time. Like the company I wanted to chat with you about is XYZ company. Have you heard of them?" They're like, I don't know. I've applied to so many roles. Let me pull up my spreadsheet," which is the reality, right?
Yeah.
But if you are using the exact same resume for every single posting, in my opinion, you're doing it wrong,
Yeah.
right? Like you might have that's your experience, right? Like that is what your resume looks like. That's what you've done. But if you really want this job, go to that job posting, go to the company's website, dig in a little deeper, go to the hiring manager's LinkedIn post, see if they put anything on there that might be relevant to what they need for this role. Tailor your resume just a tiny freaking bit for
Yeah.
that specific role. Like if you have A/B testing, if you have a computer science degree, if you have whatever some of these things are that maybe they are saying they really need, highlight that even more than you already are, right? If they say they need a technical CS degree, put that up top on your resume. If they say they need somebody who a growth PM who can bring in new users, then add statistics and add those numbers of how much revenue you've brought in or whatever, like because that one resume you're using, you should not be using for the 20 jobs that you just applied to. Please
Yeah.
don't do that.
Please
Or
don't
you're
do it.
not really trying, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah. You're just, like, checking the box, just going
Yeah.
through the motion.
Or don't know
Uh,
how, or don't even know that that could make a difference, and I promise you that can make a difference. Like, those buzzwords are a real thing, buzzwords.
yeah.
We look for
And what's
them.
it like, the stat about, like, people are only reading, like, the top 300 characters or whatever. It doesn't matter how great you look on the second page of your resume if it's not
Oh my
highlighted
god.
at the top. Dude, we look at like a million resumes a year, and, like, we can tell basically how good a candidate is, and, like, the first couple skims of our eyeballs be like, oh dude, this guy looks good, or
Yeah.
this girl, or this girl.
Yeah. Or this
Yeah.
person.
Or
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Thank you,
and
Sam.
that's you're welcome, and it's just I could only imagine how frustrating it is, right? Because especially in this market where there are so many candidates on the market and companies aren't hiring like they used to, at least right now, right? So, like, these are just little tidbits that we have noticed in the market, in the tech industry, startups specifically, um, that I think could be helpful. So again, resumes is just a little note, and put it on your LinkedIn too, right? Because hiring managers and recruiters are also looking for you, right? So even if you're not actively looking and actively applying, but you might be open, if the right thing comes along, put some stuff on your resume so I can
Yep.
freaking look you up, please. Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to mark that box that says open to new opportunities because a good recruiter doesn't care if you're open to new opportunities. If you're a good
Yeah.
fit, they're going to reach out, right?
I'm gonna get you. Yeah,
100%.
exactly.
Like
Yeah.
that, we are salespeople. We are
Yeah.
hustling. I say 90%, maybe 95% of people I talk to are not actively looking. They
And
have
it doesn't have that little green box, that little
no,
green
I'm
rim,
I'm
right?
convincing you to get on the phone with me because I think you're perfect for my role. I don't know that for sure, not until I
Yeah.
talk to you.
Yeah.
Also, that's a whole nother pet peeve too. I'm sure their candidates are like shaking in their boots upset because they get hit up by such irrelevant roles so often.
Mhm.
That could be a combo of things. One, your LinkedIn doesn't tell me shit.
Yeah.
So I don't really know. And without talking to you, I don't really know outside of your title if you're a good fit. Because title at one company, the scope of the role can be night and day from the title at another company. So keep that in mind. And then the other thing is, it could just be a sloppy recruiter. Sure. Who's not looking, who saw one buzzword on your profile and reached out. Like, don't hesitate to just tell that person, like, hey, heads up, I am not a blah, blah, blah. That's not
Yeah,
the scope of my role. Slow
that's not
down,
me. No.
or ignore them, whatever. But like,
Yeah.
if me, Sam, if I am reaching out to you, I have read your profile. I think you're a great fit. I don't know for sure till I get you on the phone though, right? Because what if I get you on the phone and you're just like, meh, meh, Eeyore, like you're not going to fit like this upbeat, fast, hustle, bustle, grit, get shit done like mentality that most of my startups need. So
Yeah.
anyway, it's just this, I'm sure it's this give and take, right?
Coming
Of
coming from
hi-
both ends.
yeah, right. And I'm sure there's frustrations and things that people on the other end see, but I think this episode is about those who are like really like banging their heads on the wall, like, what do I do to get a
Yeah.
job? And
Yeah.
man,
Um, like the other thing too, we don't need to necessarily go off into like a deep tangent on it, but if you know that you have like a really good skill set or you're good at something and you're not employed anyway, like you could also just roll the dice on yourself, right? Because there's a lot of people in this great layoff that's happened over the last year and a half. They have realized their worth, right? And what they can do. And then they're just like, you know what? Why don't me and some of my homies start our own business? It doesn't have to be like a bunch of people either, but like, what do you have that you could monetize is the other thing too. Like, think outside the box. Like, maybe this is the world telling you that like to change it up. Cause like I used to work for people all the time and now I own my own business. We work right together and it's fucking awesome. Like it's great. You make your own hours, you do your own thing, you work as hard as you need to, and you just like you figure it out. But if you're in a corner anyway, and you're like the job market is so freaking flooded, like if you have something where there's like a market need, roll the dice on yourself, see what happens too.
yeah, and you can also look for jobs while you're doing that too,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you probably kick yourself not to try. And I'm seeing tons of people on my LinkedIn who are like, "Hey, I've decided to start my own consulting and I'm a product manager or I'm a designer and you can hire me and I will do projects." And I mean, that's make your own hours, that is set your own price, that is be your own boss, and that's a good little
Yeah.
avenue too.
Dude, and I gotta say, like starting my own business, Katie starting her business, you starting your own business, like everybody has imposter syndrome, but like you if you have the skill set and you feel like, oh, I couldn't do that, nobody's going to want to pay me for that, I am a complete imposter, you should see some of the things that like big ass companies are doing. Complete imposters, right? They're just still trying to figure it out. They've just like rolled the dice on themselves. So like, dude, hey, you listening right now, you are worth it and you can do it. Like, don't be afraid to try. And if you fail, what did you learn? Sorry,
Yeah.
I got off my soapbox
No,
there.
that's fine. No, I love soapboxes.
Yeah.
Also, like, if you are applying, don't like, please follow up, right? If you don't hear anything, like Jeff
Hmm.
said, don't be afraid to be like, hey, I hit you up last week, haven't heard anything back. If I'm not a good fit, like, no worries, would love to know, but I do think I am because of XYZ. Again, it could be they didn't see your first email, or like, what are those stats on most people reply in this type
Between
of,
7 and 12. It
whatever
takes
it is.
on average between 7 and 12. Think about that. If you're a
God.
product manager or a marketer, you are no longer a marketer or a product manager or anything. You are now a salesperson. You are selling yourself to a company. So it's like you follow up again, you try and set yourself apart, you bring them flowers, you send them something. Who knows, man? Like whatever you need to do to be seen and fall out of obscurity is like what you should be doing and selling yourself, especially if you found a position that you're like freaking really turned
Yeah.
on. So just like, dude, get in there as many times as possible.
Yeah. There is something to say though for you've reached out 6 times. They're literally not replying and like ghosting you. That might be a little foreshadowing into their culture and how they may be when you're
Yeah.
there. Because we see that, right? Like we reach out to companies, we try to convince companies to work with us. Like, why are we such good recruiters? Why should you work with us? And so, same thing, you're reaching out to these companies. Why should they hire you? And there's a lot of times where I'm like, you know what? Like, I know my worth, and this company is being a little more slow to respond or not responding at all. And that to me is a good telltale sign of how they will be as a hiring manager.
Yep.
I don't got time for that. I have a lot of
Yeah.
really bomb, good, incredible startups that I'm obsessed with. And that's the beauty too of what Jeff and I do and being our own boss is we get to pick and choose. There are
Yeah.
multiple tons of companies that we have said no to or not worked with because either we could tell that they didn't have their hiring priorities straight, or it was going to be a super painful process, or it wasn't going to be a good experience for the candidates. And that's a
Hmm.
reflection on us. I'm
Yeah.
bringing these candidates to you. That's
Some
my
good
job. Or
candidates.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's my reputation on the line, mine and Jeff's. And I don't want to, if my candidates aren't going to have a good experience, like I don't want that. I don't want
Yeah.
someone who I've just convinced to talk to me to have this crappy experience.
Yeah.
So we're in this really good spot. And so to Jeff's point too, like know your worth. And if someone's not replying to you or brushing you off or sends you some shitty email back when you have followed up, like don't, that's a them problem, not a you problem.
Yep.
Like move on to the next. You will find a job. You
Mhm.
just have to be persistent in this market. It's just something we haven't seen for a long time.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I've got a friend who she's been unemployed for just a little bit. Like, she's awesome, and like she just keeps getting ghosted by hiring managers. And like, she's like, I want to send a text message or an email just reiterating why I think I'm a good fit. I'm like, that's a slippery slope because one, what if you don't actually know what the hiring manager needs in this position? So I was like, why don't you just express your like excitement to potentially work there with this person? And I was like, plus you're like a really good gardener. Like, why don't you bring them some of your flowers? And this is a local thing. And the hiring manager, she had sent him a message, hey, I'm going to drop something off. They're like, all right, cool. She drops it off, ghosted, brought over a bouquet of flowers, and they freaking ghosted her. And I'm like, fuck that company. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, why would you want to work for them? Honestly, like this isn't you. This isn't a reflection on you. This is a reflection on them.
Yeah.
And like, thank your lucky stars that you didn't get that job.
Yeah, literally, she brought them a bouquet of flowers,
Brought them a
not even a
bouquet of flowers from their garden and a note, and not a thank you, not a fuck you. What's that
I'd
thing?
rather a fuck you at
Yeah,
that point.
a
I'd rather a,
something,
like,
anything.
"Thanks for this bouquet, but, like, we're looking for something else." Like,
Yeah,
something, right?
something. Yeah,
Also, I get it. I understand that there are people out there who are saying, like, "Bah, I have recruiters who ghost me." Sure, I have candidates who ghost me. Like,
yeah,
you're with the wrong recruiter then. If that recruiter, like, is not giving you the time of day, don't give them your energy either. I
yeah,
promise you, you will get a job without that recruiter. So know your worth as well. And don't be afraid to tell them, like, hey, I'm a little disappointed. Like, I haven't heard back. Like, rewinding a little bit too, that recruiter may not have heard back from that hiring manager.
yeah,
But it's okay to ask and it's okay to be like, hey, when do I expect to hear back from you? You know, it's
yeah,
this whole back and forth of like, how many times is too much to reach out? And how often should I reach out? And what if I never reach out? You know, and for me personally, reach out as much as you want. If I don't have an answer, I'm going to tell you I don't have an answer, you know,
yeah,
or I'm going to tell you, like, sorry, they haven't gotten back to me. I don't know what the hell's going on. Like, let's, if you see anything else, let me know. I'll keep my eyes and ears open for you if I see something else. You have a great background. That's why I reached out to you in the first place. Like, man, frustrating. So for us
yeah,
too, as someone on the HR side, call it HR, right? Like
yeah,
we feel those pains too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and on that point too, it's like I don't think it's out of the realm of like possibility, not even possibility. It's like you should expect, especially if you reach out if it's like you can reach out if you wanted to until you hear like anything really, because like you could just go back in. Honestly, if it's like a local type of a position, just walk back and be like, "Hey, man, I put in my resume. Like, I'm just checking back in. I wanted to close the book on this, or like figure out what's going on because like it's kind of just open ended at this point. And if it's a no, it's a no. But thank you for like letting me know so I can move
Yeah.
on, rather than just like, hey, I mean, I've floated it out there because it's like, what effort are you putting in at that point? And with so many people on the market, you just got to stay on top of it, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, you're already at a no, right? They
Yeah.
haven't gotten back to you. They haven't told you one way or the other. You're already at a no. And
What's the worst that can
believe
happen?
yeah, believe me, it's the most frustrating when a hiring manager gets a resume and doesn't acknowledge it or give me a timeline. And I think too, we're external recruiters, Jeff and I. So a lot of the times it could be like, we have a really internal good candidate that we like. Let's see them through. Well, just tell me that. I don't
Yeah.
care. What do you think I'm going to do? Like, snake your internal, like, that's not us.
Cry
No,
about it.
like, yeah, like, tell me so I can tell my candidate who is relying on me to represent them, right?
I'm
Like,
busy.
it makes you look bad as a company too. When you
Yeah.
are not treating even people who apply with the correct decency. So tell me so I can tell them so we can all be this big happy family of information, right? Like,
Yeah.
the more you know, right?
Yeah. Then more, and speaking on that, I just read an article the other day, and it was like there are so many companies that are not actually hiring. They have up these ghost job descriptions to gather resumes so that when they are hiring, they have more contact information.
Garbage.
And how frustrating is that? It's like
Garbage.
no wonder you're not hearing back from them. They don't have the internal
Is
resources
that
to reach
real?
out to you anyway. It's 100% real.
Okay, sorry, if you guys are doing that, stop
Yeah. Yeah.
immediately. Like, you're telling me that you're collecting resumes for maybe a role you might open in 6 months. Well, I'm sorry. Their
You're
experience
not
is going to
hiring.
change. The scope of what you might need is going to change. That resume is irrelevant. Like, when someone's applying, they are hot, they're ready to go. They're all hot and lathered right that second.
Ah.
You might be wasting your time if in 6 months you decide to call this used to be hot and lathered person.
Yeah.
Like, just stop that. That's garbage. And
Yeah.
you're getting these people's hopes up. These people are applying to each job and holding on with the thread, right? And I've realized that as a recruiter. I'll talk to a candidate. They're, passively open, might not be open at all. I get them all hot and lathered about this really exciting opportunity that I have. And I need to remember too that even though they told me they're not actively looking, they probably got off that call. We're like, oh my gosh, I'm so jacked up on this opportunity that Sam
Hmm.
sent me. Like, I don't know how often they're thinking about it. So I need to make sure like I stay in that loop in their ear
To
and
keep them excited.
to keep them excited, but also to let them know the second I know that this company is going to pass
Hmm.
or move forward or put the role on hold, whatever it is, so that I don't have these candidates wondering. Like,
No.
that's what would drive me crazy. Someone who needs answers right away, applying and not even knowing if they got it.
Uh huh.
I'd
Yeah.
go insane. I couldn't do it,
Yeah.
guys.
It's also, I think, like a facade where it's like, oh, our company is still growing. Well, bullshit, because you just have this up. You have no intentions of actually hiring anybody, but your jobs page shows that you've got a bunch of different things that are up there. Like you've listed some positions, but like you have no growth.
Where
You're
did
you're
you
not
see
going
that?
anywhere right
Was
now,
that on LinkedIn?
dude.
I can't. That
I don't
makes me
remember where
mad.
it was. Yeah, I'll
Whatever.
I'll
But
share it with you.
that's fine. That's just a crappy thing to do, first of
Yeah,
all.
yeah,
Also, like, get your crap together before you decide to post a role. Figure out what you really want because it's also super frustrating for someone to like post a role and be like, let me talk to a few people and see what we really need. And then you just
yeah,
wasted those people's time
yeah,
just to
yeah.
find out that you need something different. Like, sure, that happens, but going into it with that intent of let's just feel out the market and decide later. Nope, figure it out. Don't Let's not waste people's time and get people's hopes up. People have better things to do.
You know,
Come on, meow.
we could do a whole other episode on, hey, listen here, company, this is what you're doing wrong.
That's true.
let
I'll save all.
let us help you.
Yeah,
I
but I
noticed
feel
a little shift. I was like, oh shit, she's getting
yeah,
fired up.
don't let me go down that hole. No, it's
Yeah.
just with candidates though, like, don't give up. You need to set yourself apart, right? Don't just apply and forget about it. You can't just like set the hook, right? Is this a fishing? I went fishing once the other week and
Oh,
now I think I'm a fisherman. Okay.
oh,
Don't just
yeah.
throw that line out and just sit and expect a fish to just want it, right? Did I do it? You can't
You
just like
nailed it.
expect the fish to come. You got to like work for it and you got to like keep
Yeah.
casting it and keep on doing this little thing. What is this? Reeling it in?
Reeling. Yeah,
Sure.
reeling. And then you
Yeah,
can
you got to
jig it.
okay. You got to keep checking your worm to make sure the worm's still, you know what I mean? Like, you
Yeah.
can't just set it and just cross your
Forget
fingers and
it.
be like, I got that. Like, no,
Yeah.
follow up with someone at that company, look at your connections, connect with everybody. Once you connect with someone, then you can send them a little message for free.
Yep.
Send them a little, what do you call it? Like an IM, an
Yeah.
instant
Yeah.
messenger on there. Send them a little, hey, I applied. Like, who's the right person I should reach out to? Keep on going, keep on going.
Yeah. Don't stop. So I think that most important thing, let's just run through it really fast. So
Yeah.
what? Number one, tailor your resume to the
Yes,
position.
please. To the position.
To the position. Make sure that you hit on some things that are important to the company. Like you've talked about it in the past. You're like, the only email that I ever opened from a salesperson is when they complimented my LinkedIn post.
Yeah,
It's
they
like,
they
wow,
reference
they actually
something.
paid attention.
Correct, they reference something on my page, so I know they looked at it, right?
Yep.
And I read it, and I don't read all these sales pitches I get.
You didn't buy
Um,
it.
no, I didn't buy it, but I read it.
You
And
did
I
read
remember
it.
the name of the company.
Did you
Yes,
respond to it?
I sure didn't, but I read it.
You did read it. So that's
I
all
did
you
read
can
it.
ask for.
So it's so yes, reach out to somebody at that company, connect with people at that company, at least try to do something outside of just applying. Tailor your
Mhm.
resume. Um, I would also keep track of where you're applying and follow up. So if you've applied somewhere, I would wait 24 hours to 48 hours and I would send them an email. Hey, I applied to that job yesterday. I
This day
wanted
and
to see if
time.
you got it.
Yep.
Yeah, yesterday at noon, I applied to that, software engineer role that I saw. I'm super excited. Not sure if you saw my resume yet. Would love to jump on a call. Let me know if there's, let me know if you think my background's a great fit. Would love to
Yeah.
connect. Boom,
Yeah.
simple, sweet, whatever. And then they're going to be like, okay, who's this guy? He reached out. That's great. Let me look. Okay, let me look at his resume. He's not a good fit. If they ghost you at that time, whatever. But you've done your due diligence
Hmm.
and you can say you've tried.
Yep.
Applying
But
isn't going to do it.
yeah, just hold on. So, not just following up, it has to be like value added follow up as well.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, I applied. I think that I'm great because of this. You've got them. If they're going to read that email, you
Yeah.
better have something in there that's going to make them be like, oh, I should go back and look at that resume. Like, I have been in landscape architecture for 7.5 years. I started my own business. I ended up quitting because of the COVID, whatever. Like, I want to join a cool company. And I really think that this one is the one to do it. And I'm just making this so that it's like for everybody.
Yeah. I was going to say, what's landscape architect?
I used to want to be a landscape
All
architect,
right.
and then
Great.
I didn't want to go to school,
I
and
was
I think
like,
I had to for something.
we don't work on those
It's
roles.
for
What are,
everybody,
I have a
man. Everybody
side
needs
gig
a
I don't know
job.
about? What's
Yeah, side
happening?
hustle, you know me. But yeah, put some value add in your follow up each and every time you
Yeah.
follow up. Not just, hey, did you get my message? Because they'd be like, no, I didn't. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Because
Yeah. I
why would I
agree.
respond to you? Yeah.
Value add,
Okay.
value add. And also, please
Value
don't
add. Go
apply
ahead.
if your background is not relevant at all. Like,
Or if it's if it's in another state, like I've been getting people applying to like this position that we have, Sam, from freaking Vermont and New York, and I'm like, all right, sweet, you want to move to Boise? They're like, no, not right now. I'm like, what? You are literally wasting your time.
yeah,
Go somewhere else and do something else.
this
Like a lot of
comes, this
jobs
is
are remote, but whatever.
right. And this is a tricky little slope too, because I'm also a firm believer of if you read that job posting and it says 4 to 6 years of experience as a product manager in the generative AI space. Okay. But I know a lot of candidates who are like, "No, well, I only have 3 years of experience," and they want 4 to 6. Like, I'm not gonna do that. Wrong. If you are coming out of a current generative AI startup for 3 years and maybe you owned a lot, maybe you were the only product manager, you have a lot more experience than maybe a product manager who maybe has dabbled in Gen AI at a big, large company where they've owned a tiny portion. So, like, take that into consideration too. And don't be afraid to highlight that. Be like, hey, I know you said you want 4 to 6 years. I've been the sole PM for the last 3 years, owning all of it from zero to launch, blah, blah, blah. Like, they will talk to you over somebody who has 10 years at a big company who's owned a tiny bit. So, just know that
Yeah,
too.
small thing. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Big, small,
Uh,
all the hand.
yeah, yeah, and like they're all just like they're all ballparks too. Like we'll talk to hiring managers, and they're like, we need around 5 years. It's like, well, would you look at somebody with 3? And
Yeah.
they're the job posting says 5 years like required, but would you look at somebody with 3? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So just
Dude,
keep that in mind too.
yeah, apply.
But
So
also, if you see a product manager job and you are a social media marketing manager who's never touched product and you're in the biotech space, please don't apply to that Gen AI PM role.
yeah,
Like, just
I'm
don't
very
waste your time
passionate
or
about
their
it
time.
though.
Yeah, but I
Yeah,
love being a product. Don't do that,
yeah, yeah.
please.
Please don't.
There's lots of things. There is no
Yeah,
like secret sauce. But there's other things people can do in this market that 5 years ago it was different. 5 years ago, everyone just freaking got hired all the freaking time. Just
yeah,
there's so many jobs and people are
yeah,
hopping left and right. Now people are too scared to leave and I get it. I
yeah.
understand.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
especially if you're, you have a comfortable position and you kind of like what you're doing, but you're like got your foot halfway out the door. Like the last thing you would want to do is freaking just jump and then not have a position lined up. Just be
Yeah.
unemployed, be one of the numbers. But yeah, it's crazy.
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 Hmm.
But shit. Hopefully that helped some people. Did we miss anything, Sam?
I'm sure. I'm
I'm
sure there are
sure.
things that'll get brought up that we missed, but
Yeah.
the main focus is what to do to what those people should do who are applying to places directly outside of just applying, because there's
Yeah.
lots of things I think you can do.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys,
Yeah.
it's tough out there. I could not imagine. Like, I have some personal friends who, are looking and family, and I just I understand that it sucks, but
Yeah. Have them watch the show. Leave us like any in the comments or whatever. Hey, like this is what I'm running into. What can we do here? Because I like answering questions, and
yeah.
Sam's much faster than me, so I'll just follow up on what she normally says because she's like all on top of it. But like we're happy to help wherever we can. I mean that doesn't necessarily mean we can get everybody a job, but if there's something that we missed that you wanted to hit on, like happy to help it out.
Yeah, and if we don't know, we're gonna tell you that we don't know. Like, I'm not
No
gonna waste your
idea.
time. If I don't have a
No.
job for you, I'm gonna tell you, I'm sorry. I don't wanna jump on a call with you. I don't wanna waste your time. I don't know when I'll have a job for you. Let's save time. Like,
Your job is soon going to be taken over by artificial intelligence. You should probably find a new
yes,
career.
that is all of us, actually. All of
Yeah.
us.
We're
That's
fucking
a whole
screwed.
nother episode. This is just the beginning of all of us
Yeah.
being unemployed.
Oh, I did have an idea well, maybe for our next one, but we should do a show and we should call it "Is My Job Fucked?" Like
Yes.
janitor. No, you're probably safe.
Are you though?
Accountant.
Robots, Roombas.
My God. See?
Yeah.
No,
Same
we'll
with
save it.
there's
Oh,
that Roomba lawnmower. Like, what are those
dude.
people called? Landscapers?
Yeah.
Dunzo.
Dunzo.
Chefs, Dunzo.
Bye.
Bye forever. You know
Yeah.
what? Just forget you even listened to this this episode because there's gonna
Find
be no
something new to
jobs
do,
soon.
man. Go cut your mattress open. It's going to be a while. There we are. And here we are.
Also, to bring this to the boomer slash Gen Z
Mm,
slash millennial. Boomers, I haven't seen a boomer resume ever.
no.
Millennials, they've got it down. Gen Z is like, I'm not gonna do a resume. Company's still
Gen
looking at
Z's like, I'm
resumes.
not. I'm not going
I'm
to go
not.
work.
Yeah. I'm an influencer. I'm
Yeah,
not working.
they're already working for themselves in their
Yeah.
Lamborghinis. God, we'll get there someday.
They can't be
Fuck.
bothered to put together a resume. Like, just look at my LinkedIn, which I
Yeah.
agree.
Go look
But
at my
also,
TikTok.
yeah,
My God, would that be a thing?
I'm sure it is. All right. Well, tell your friends.
Oh, and hold on, Sam. You let me get this entire episode. I know. Unbelievable.
I
Unbelievable you
can't
did
even
that.
believe that. Hey, can you hit us
This
with the intro?
Sup Boomer podcast, where we lovingly embrace the fact that we are the boomers of this millennial generation.
Oh, wow.
I can't believe
Sounds
we went
great.
all the way to the end. That's fine. But you can always put it in the front.
I will. Put it in the front.
Intro in the front, party in the back.
Oh, there we go. Oh, let's
Oh,
keep it in the back so we can add that.
yeah, put it in the back.
Just put it in the back.
Yeah,
That's what
my
she
fucking
said.
screen keeps turning off.
Wait, all right.
All right.
On
Well,
that
see you,
note,
Boomer.
see ya, boomer.
Bye.